So it is one of those projects which is impossible to budget for. We also had to do elevators. We have 12 elevators. At least with elevators, I knew that we could negotiate 12 elevators. You cannot negotiate on a facade project because you have no idea how much damage is up on the 23rd floor or on the 20th floor.
Plus, with each project, you get a team of, as you said, soft costs, which includes, engineers, project managers, and the like. And at least with the facade, my experience has been, it feels like when you're done with one cycle, the next one's right around the corner.
This is the Co-op and Condo Insider, the podcast dedicated to New York's cooperative and condominium communities. This is your trusted source for the latest insights, strategies, and stories shaping the world of shared housing. You will hear from the people who are leaders in this community, information and insights you will not hear anywhere else. If you want to stay ahead of the curve, you're in the right place. The views and opinions expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect those of the host or any affiliated individuals or organizations.
Hello, and welcome to the Co-op and Condo Insider, where we explore the real-world issues facing co-op and condo communities across New York City with insight, expertise, and a healthy dose of straight talk. I'm your host, Jeffrey Maisel. I'm a co-op attorney and legal advisor to the President's Co-op and Condo Council. I'm thrilled to be joined by my co-host, as always, Richard Solomon, a seasoned voice in public radio for over 20 years. Richard has taken his listeners around the world to meet experts, newsmakers, and the people making a real difference in our everyday lives. Richard, great to have you on the mic with us today.
We're getting phenomenal feedback. So it's great. It's great stuff. Great content.
And today we have another great guest, Igor Oberman. Igor is not in Queens, so we're moving over to Brooklyn. We're moving up in the world. And Igor, welcome to the show, and we look forward to an interesting chat with you today.
Thank you for the welcome and greetings from Brooklyn.
Okay. Igor is the general manager at Trump Village West, and you have an interesting background. Tell us your journey and your relationship with the Trump Village West complex and how you became the general manager. It's not a straight line by any means.
In a city of a million stories, this is my story. So I immigrated to the United States when I was 8 years old to Brooklyn. Brian Beach boy, pretty much all my life. Went to Abraham Lincoln High School, then to Brooklyn College, and then I went to New York Law School because they had a very high concentration in real estate classes. I then became an attorney specializing in real estate, wound up working for New York City as an administrative law judge for an agency called the Environmental Control Board, which is now OATH, Office of Administrative Trials and Hearings. Was promoted to be an appellate level administrative law judge, so worked there for a couple of years. Decided to buy a co-op in a complex known as Trump Village West, got on the board, became the board president, and then I decided that it was just too much of a haul for a volunteer position. Decided that I would sell and leave, but the board came to me and asked me to stay. And as of June of this year, it's been my pleasure and honor to be the general manager of Trump Village for 10 years.
And when were you on the board? How many years ago was that?
So my journey with Trump Village has been a total of 15, 5 as a resident and board member, and 10 years as the general manager.
I would have to think being an administrative law judge for the ECB must be a tremendous advantage in your role as general manager in operating the property.
Well, as the saying goes, I know how the sausage is made, and it ain't pretty.
I regularly appear before ECB oath, so who knows if we were, entangled at some point in the past.
Entangled is an understatement when it comes with some of the regulations that the city of New York enforces.
So normally when I meet a lawyer that doesn't practice, I usually congratulate him, and I usually refer to him as a genius. but you stepped into property management. So it might be a parallel move in terms of insanity and stress.
Well, I got into property management really even before my career as an attorney. As an immigrant, my parents asked for help in filling out how do you do the multiple dwelling registration. So I kind of got into the position of property manager and had a concentration as a dirt lawyer or a real estate lawyer, simply trying to help my immigrant parents navigate the system, and they didn't have the language or ability to do that. So that's how I started. Between the paperwork and helping them take out the garbage, my first closing I attended when I was 15 years old, and I've been involved in real estate ever since.
So tell us about Trump Village West. Give us an overview. I know it's a significant complex, its size, its structure, some characteristics of it.
So the complex was built by Fred Trump, and the C of O was from 1963. So we'll say the birth certificate is from 63. It is a two-tower complex that consists of 1,144 apartments. It has approximately 750 outdoor parking spots. The budget is approximately $15 million a year. And when we do capital renovation projects, that tacks on $2 to $3 million a year to the budget. So it's a very large project. It's a city on a street, and it's a tremendous undertaking to be able to guide it.
How many stories is each building?
Each tower is 23 stories.
And so there are over 500 units in each building.
572.
So those are very large buildings.
Very large buildings. It's on about 10 acres of land. We are 2 blocks away from the ocean. If you're trying to peg where we are in Brooklyn, we are on the same block as the aquarium where they have the shark tank. And we are close to the ocean. And when Hurricane Sandy came, the ocean came to visit us. And where I'm currently sitting, which is the management office, I would be under 4 feet of water. So it was quite an experience.
So let's start with sort of issues that we've asked many managers, board members, and the like. What issues keep you up at night as the person in charge of literally a small village, with respect to unfunded mandates, local law 97, facade requirements, elevator regulations, energy rules, and the like? So give us an idea how you guys are doing with these issues, and what's problematic, and what would you like to see changed if possible?
Well, I think that as in any co-op or condo, the key that keeps you up at night is the budget and the ability to be able to fund daily operations. What winds up happening is that when you get a new regulation or mandate that you have to comply with, you then have to sit with pencil, paper, and figure out how exactly you're going to meet those mandates. And there's been quite a bit of what I would say cost shifting from what is expected from government services to what is expected on building-wide services, such as compost regulations, which are looks like are reawakening it again with a mandate going into effect next year. So all of the different rules that City Council likes to put into effect get a headline, but the co-op is ultimately left with paying the costs of those nice regulations which are adopted.
Right. For example, local law 11, the facade requirements really came about. My understanding is, one case, one accident, and it is blossomed into a multi-billion-dollar industry with the cost borne by property owners, including co-ops in the city of New York.
So what you have with the facade work, local law 11, is you impossible to budget for since it requires an examination of every single brick on the facade. It requires an examination of the balconies. It requires examination of the concrete eyebrows on our complex, and it was impossible to budget to. You can only do your best to try to estimate how many bricks are going to be broken on a 60-year-old building, but that is just a task for fortune tellers instead of trying to properly budget for it. You have scaffolding, which costs a fortune to be able to install and then maintain. We're not even dealing with the architectural cost of having to do permit renewals and having the architects come out with your contractor to go on the actual vertical scaffolds and see how much repairs need to be made. So it is one of those projects which is impossible to budget for. We also had to do elevators. We have 12 elevators. At least with elevators, I knew that we could negotiate 12 elevators. You cannot negotiate on a facade project because you have no idea how much damage is up on the 23rd floor or on the 20th floor.
Plus, with each project, you get a team of, as you said, soft costs, which includes, engineers, project managers, and the like. And at least with the facade, my experience has been, it feels like when you're done with one cycle, the next one's right around the corner.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. As soon as we had a delay with COVID as well. So during our project, we had a deadline that we were trying to meet. The first set of the architect office was closed down. They got all sick with COVID. Then we had the contractors got sick with COVID. And we were on Zoom with Department of Buildings, them yelling at us, to move and hurry up. And I asked them a question, how do I do this if everybody's sick? And how do you meet a deadline that is hard to meet? We met it, and it was hard, but it is a project that is next to impossible to do any kind of budget for on a project such as ours.
And are you self-managed or you have?
So the way that the building is run is the management office, myself and some other staff are direct employees of the corporation. And we wouldn't be able to obviously run such a large enterprise by ourselves. So we have wonderful third-party vendors that we use. Douglas Elliman helps me out and the complex to make sure that our accounts payables and our accounts receivables come in, and they are the backbone of the back office operation for the complex.
So it's like a hybrid.
It's a hybrid for sure, but you have to think outside of the box when you're trying to manage a complex of 1,200 units. It's kind of easy to manage. I wouldn't say easy, but I say there's options available to manage buildings that are 50 to 100 units. But once you put in any kind of scale that is above 500 units, you're going to have a very hard time in New York City finding any management companies that even have the capacity to be able to take on such a large amount of residents and vendors. So we were very fortunate to be able to work with Douglas Elliman on a hybrid basis.
So you have an office obviously on site.
Yeah,
we fully staffed.
Fully staffed. We have an office on site. We have a maintenance department with 2 supervisors and approximately 25 union employees on site. It's a 24-hour building. Pipes burst. They don't care if it's your day off. Fires seem to always happen on the most unexpected circumstances at times. So it is It's a mini city. We have with a third party vendor, we have a security force. We have, like I said, a maintenance department, and obviously we have other professionals that help us out dealing with New York City, New York State, tax filings and the like.
So you said before we started recording that that it's a real neighborhood. Trump Village is a real neighborhood. Tell us about the people there. You know, it's multi-generational, and give us some flavor as to the shareholder life there.
So the buildings are, as I said, opened up in '63. We still have some original tenants that moved in on day one that are still here. In fact, I would say though, although this was built as a Mitchell-Lama and became private in approximately 2007, we have 50% of the residents still are the former Mitchell-Lama owners. And we have a lot of their children who are coming back here to buy apartments and live with their folks. And one of the most fascinating things that I found, didn't know before I moved in to the building, is that you have certain floors, because we have 3-bedroom, 2-bedroom, 1-bedroom apartments, where you will literally have 3 generations of family. We'll have the grandparents, the parents, and the children there all living on the same floor, shuffling in, between holidays. It makes it easier. Thanksgiving just happened, so that's just interesting to watch how generations of folks live on one floor. And the complex, it's really the power of it is of its size, that you will have folks young professionals who moved out of the buildings, got married and are coming back, because our complex offers, if you have your grandparents here or parents, they have the built-in babysitting. So in the mornings, you'll see young professionals dressed in their suits and ties, and they'll have a briefcase on one hand and they'll have a toddler on the other. And you'll have a grandma and her moo and slippers. Meet them if they don't live on the same floor, on the first floor, and they'll take their grandchild, and one goes to work and one goes to the playground.
So that is a win-win. You have the best babysitter in the world, and you just saved probably tens of thousands of dollars a year. So win-win.
Yeah, it's a win. It's a very, I think that's the strongest draw of having a complex of the size, is that you have these generations of folks who you have, you don't need to even, a lot of the apartments that are sold in the complex are not even listed. Because you will have somebody go to a broker and say, if an apartment becomes available on this floor or within the next couple of floors, let me know. And a lot of the sales happen because folks want to live next to their family members. So it's a tremendous draw to this particular complex, which is just built in, and it's. I know that the folks out there. Looking at apartments, and they're like, well, is there a gym? We do not have a gym, but we have the opportunity for you to be next to grandma and your folks, and that's a much stronger draw. And we're seeing it in sales, that even when the market is supposed to be not as favorable, we still have a tremendous amount of sales, and it's the reason why people want to live next to their family members.
I will say, as a co-op and condo practitioner, and I'm familiar with, literally dozens and dozens of projects. That's first time I've heard that. I've heard places used to be like that, but not anymore. So that's really nice to hear. So you mentioned that the buildings converted from Mitchell-Lama. Is it Mitchell-Lama?
Yeah,
it was free market.
No, they can. This is a fully free market complex. It was one of the first complexes to leave the Mitchell-Lama program before the New York State Attorney General's office just made the regulations next to impossible for complexes to leave. So it's 100% free market at this point. There's no regulations at all.
And when did that happen?
2007.
And were you involved with that at all? Were you there yet?
I was not, because I didn't, when this complex became free market, that's when it even became on my radar as an opportunity to buy into the complex. So I became a shareholder in early 2008.
Oh, so you bought right after the conversion.
Yeah, I bought. I wanted to be in the neighborhood. My parents still, God bless, are not too far away. I wanted to be close to them, and I thought that the complex, which has a beach 2 blocks away and subway a block away and has a school across the street, was just a tremendous opportunity.
So the name is Trump Village West, and you have the Trump branding, which I guess comes with certain unusual responses or usual responses from people both in the public and in the government. Can you discuss what challenges you've had having a building that includes the Trump name in it? And what is Trump's relation, I guess the president's relation, with the complex now or ever?
So the complex name, when I bought in, was not a hot topic. It only became obviously a hot topic when he started running for president the first time around. It's unfortunate that the response that you get having a complex associated with a national, global figure that's loved by some, hated by others, and in New York, it seems to be more hated by a lot more folks than loved. The problems that we have as well, our logo on our clothes, well, it's great, but I certainly don't wear it when I leave and go take the subway. I figured out that it was my logo when I was going down to 141 Livingston Street, one of my least favorite places, which is the landlord-tenant court in Kings County. And I had people just staring at me, and I couldn't understand what they were staring. I thought maybe I spilled something, or maybe and then I realized, oh, they were staring at my shirt. And although I have Trump Village West on it, I got dirty looks. Don't wear it on the subway anymore. For the residents here, when we have a Trump Village West sticker for their parking, for their windshield, we had to change that sticker around because some complained that they got their cars vandalized. So we literally had to change the stickers, parking stickers, with the associated parking spot number to, instead of Trump Village West, to Trump, TVW, which was something that was not on my radar to do. But what's really shocking is the way that you have agencies deal with you for some reason, and it could be coincidence, although I don't believe in coincidences. We get audited randomly. We try to settle our tax certiorari. As any complex, we try to lower our real estate taxes, and we thought we were going to have an agreement with Department of Finance, and that when we were getting close, we were told that DOF is not going to settle with the Trump organization, and we could stand and on our heads until we were blue. We were not able to resolve our tax certiorari issues, and we had to go to a full trial. So it's surprising that you have to deal with a set of issues that certainly I wasn't prepared for. And even our employees, some of the clerical employees, we offer them, would you like to go on the Trump Village West payroll, or do you want to go on the Douglas Elliman payroll? Because there is a desire to stay away from the name. They don't want that name on their resume, which is, some people go to visit Lincoln's Log Cabin, and some people don't want the name on their payroll. So you got to deal with it.
Has the board ever considered rebranding under a different name?
We did. I mean, this came up when our renewal is in April. Our insurance renewal is in April. So when the when there was an arraignment of Donald Trump in April of 23, we were about to renew our insurance policies, and we had one insurance company refuse to do business with us. Then we went to a secondary insurance company. They refused to issue us a policy. It wasn't about money. It wasn't about risk. It was just that they did not want to have anything to do with the Trump name. At that point, they reached out to the board and said, listen, we're a couple of $100,000. Our insurance policy at this time is about 2.2 million annual basis. Before it was a little bit less, but we were dealing with a couple of $100,000 difference. And I said, let's rebrand. Let's rebrand. And the board said, why don't you go back and see, maybe we'll have to do it just simply for the fact that, we got to do what's right for the shareholders. We're stewards of their money. We went back. We said, can we change the name? We'll change it to pick a name, whatever name you want. And they said, no, you're still going to be known as formerly associated. And they refused to issue us insurance policy, even if we changed our names. However, a lot of the residents still remember when Donald Trump was in the management office, and he was in charge of, he was a young gentleman at that time, a kid, 18, 17, and he was responsible to make sure that all the stoves were working. So if you have 1,144 stoves and it was working, he's the one to thank. And if they weren't working, I guess he was the one to complain with. But a lot of the older residents still remember him, and he was their go-to person, making sure all the new stoves were working, the pilot lights running. Maybe he was turning on the pilot lights.
So that's a little bit of history there.
Yeah.
And Fred built the complex, his father.
Fred built the complex. There's a famous picture from New York Times where him and Donald are standing on the roof of the complex after it was built. They were looking at some building plans or something like that, but it's a New York Times picture that always seems to make rounds when they discuss his involvement with the project.
Okay, but before we get to our fun segment, not that this wasn't fun, just this is your invitation to embellish and tell us, what have been your highlights as general manager? What are you most proud of?
You got to be always careful when you discuss your accomplishments, because you don't want to come off as arrogant or bragging. I think some of the over the 10 years that I've been the general manager, and a couple of years when I was on the board, the greatest accomplishment has really been to keep this complex mortgage-free, mechanically free, but it'll start with mortgages. We're dealing with a complex that has, according to the Department of Finance, a value of over $1 billion. It's very easy to be able to go out there and just take out a mortgage for 30% of the value. So we're talking about hundreds of millions to be able to take it out. We've been able to run the complex without taking out a mortgage. We've been able to budget and schedule capital improvement projects that are required by the city, such as elevator upgrades, local law 11, the facade work. And obviously now we're trying to figure out what to do with local law 97, as the new mayor has made it a point that he is going to keep the mandate. So that's been the greatest budgetary accomplishment for the resident shareholders. I think what my stewardship has been able to do is to have a very responsive team, both from the maintenance department as well as from the office staff, to be able to, in a very systematic and fast response time, answer residents' concerns, complaints, get the paperwork out, and that's it. The devil's in the details, and I think that we took a complex that was not computerized and large and unmovable, and made it very, very responsive.
I can say it so you won't sound arrogant. If you're running a complex mortgage-free at this level, that's an incredible accomplishment. And that bodes extremely well for the co-op financially. And again, and the family ties and community feeling that you seem to be portraying makes it a very unusual and special place. So congratulations on that.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So, Rich, this is where your time to shine. Rich gets to do the fun stuff. I put in Best of Brooklyn in the notes. You could do whatever you want, Rich.
All right. So I have a few questions. So first question is, what are the great attractions in the area? You got Nathan's, you got the beach, you got the aquarium. What else? You got Netcost. Not that I'm plugging them, but I love Russian black bread and some of the Russian products. What's great out there? What else is good that's in the neighborhood that's unique to the area that you wouldn't find in another borough?
Oh, I think that if you want to have a true Russian night out, you got to go to Tatiana's on the boardwalk.
I've been there. Yeah.
So although I'm a friend and I don't, we're not doing free plugs here. I think that if you visit Tatiana's on the boardwalk in the summertime, there's nothing out there like sitting and having lunch while getting fresh sea breeze on your face. And if you want to have a good time out at night, then you got to go at night and see the Vegas style reviews, which is just amazing. So for the local Russian flavor, I highly recommend that restaurant, and that location is just spectacular to be able to be on the boardwalk, on the Riegelman boardwalk, and enjoying it. It's amazing.
What would you say is the greatest challenge as far as having a whole community within a very big, complicated city? Is it the regulations? Is it managing people and emotions and neighbor issues? Is it just organization, or is it something else?
The hard part to explain to people when they move into a vertical environment is that they have to understand that you're living in, maybe an analogy is in the kibbutz. Everybody has to understand that you got to be able to get along and be respectful of your neighbor. And although management tries to help and remind folks that if you wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning and decide to put a picture up on your wall, it may not be the best idea, because when you start hitting cement in the middle of the night, it travels 3 floors up, 3 floors down. So I'm always faced with the issue of neighbors not realizing that you are living close, you are living in a very dense population, and calling 311 at times does not get you anywhere. So that is just the challenge of just having a very large building with everybody thinking that they can do whatever they want in their apartments.
I think that transcends cultures.
Is there a Trump Village East anywhere?
So across the street is our sister building. They decided not to call themselves East. So the name of the complex our complex is Trump Village Section 4 Inc. So when we became private, we decided to change the name and adopt the DBA, Trump Village West. They became Trump Village Estates. We felt that it was a little bit more like a penal colony to have Section 4 Inc., and it was not inviting, we would say. So there is an East, there's a sister building across the street, which consists of even more units, 1,600 units. But they do have a mortgage, so.
Okay. Igor,
right,
thank you very much. That was really interesting and I think enlightening. I mean, we learned a lot about certainly your community and where to go to eat when we go to the beach in Brooklyn. Thank you for joining us, and I would encourage everybody who's listening to tune in for this episode and future episodes. And Igor, one more thing. I want to officially congratulate you, because you are now officially a Co-op and Condo Insider. So congratulations.
Well, I appreciate, this is inside baseball. So for those folks who love Co-op and Condo content, I thank you for putting this podcast on. And this is very near and dear to me. So I'm very glad and appreciative of being part of it.
Yeah, we are. The podcast is growing, obviously a niche audience, but it is the only podcast of this type covering this space. And we're very happy to bring this information to the co-op and condo community. So please, everybody, hope you enjoyed this episode, and we look forward to speaking to you in future episodes. Thank you very much.
Thanks for listening to the Co-op and Condo Insider. We hope you found today's conversation informative and insightful. Don't forget to subscribe. We're available on all major podcast platforms. Until next time, stay informed.